Late at night, when college campuses grow quiet and dorm hallway lights flicker off, real tales of terror begin to emerge. Strange noises, creepy stalkers, disturbing pranks. Behind the fun college facade lurks a dark underbelly of experiences that haunt students long after graduation day. This all-too-real horror hides in plain sight. In this video, we'll shine a light on 3 bone-chilling true stories from college campuses across the country. Tales of roommates from hell, shadowy figures disappearing into the darkness, and chilling noises that make your blood run cold. Settle in, if you dare. The creepy roommate. I was a bright-eyed freshman full of hopes for new friendships and adventure when I moved into my very first dorm room. My optimism sank quickly when I met my assigned roommate, a bizarrely antisocial kid named Dale. Painfully awkward and completely incapable of normal conversation, I wrote Dale off immediately as a lost cause. But I had no idea just how terrifying Dale would become in the coming weeks. At first, I simply tried to avoid him, spending as little time in the dorm room as possible. But his off-putting presence permeated the small space nonetheless. Dale would sit motionless on his bed for hours, the blue glow of his laptop illuminating his gaunt face. Whenever I attempted friendly conversation, he would simply stare right through me with hollow eyes. One night I woke suddenly in the darkness. As my eyes adjusted, I gasped in shock and instinctively recoiled. Dale was sitting upright on the edge of his bed, gazing directly at me, sleeping just feet away. His wiry frame was silhouetted in moonlight, eyes wide and unblinking. Cold dread trickled down my spine at this intrusive observation. I immediately requested a room change to escape the awkward tension. I hoped that would be the end of my chilling encounters with Dale. But worse was still to come. After moving down the hall to a new dorm room, I began to suspect Dale had managed to enter when I was in class. Small items went mysteriously missing or ended up out of place. One heart-stopping night, I caught him directly in the act. As I opened the door, Dale was rifling quickly through my bag and possessions. He fabricated ridiculous excuses when confronted, but his intrusive intentions were now undeniably clear. The terrifying climax arrived several days later. Well after midnight, I jerked awake to strange metallic scraping noises just outside the room. Peering out the peephole, I glimpsed a tall, slim figure fiddling intently with the lock on my door. Shock and anger flooded through me as I realized it was Dale attempting to break in. I called the campus police and waited frozen in horrified silence. Moments later, heavy boots echoed down the hall as officers arrived. Through the still-closed door, I could hear the ensuing scuffle, followed by Dale's shrill cries of protest. Police found him fetal on the floor in handcuffs, various lock-picking devices scattered around him. His intrusive obsession had turned openly criminal. Following this violation, Dale faced immediate expulsion from campus, prohibited from returning. In the weeks following Dale's removal, I constantly feared his return. The slightest unexpected noises put me on high alert, paranoid he still lurked somewhere close by. But gradually my dread diminished, relief sinking in as time passed eventless. I never saw or heard from Dale again after that fateful night. Though the bizarre events still haunt me years later, at least I escaped unseen horrors that may have followed at the hands of my unstable roommate. The Forest Stalker. My friends and I were decent college kids, enthusiastic partiers but generally law-abiding. At least we thought so until that terrifying night by the lake brutally corrected our naive perspective. It started harmlessly enough, drinking a few smuggled beers out in the woods by the campus lake, telling stupid jokes that seemed hilarious in our drunken state. The illegal six-packs were the worst of our mild rebellion. As sophomores, we felt confident nothing too sinister lurked so close to the comforting college bubble. As the moon rose overhead, however, the darkness among the trees took an ominous turn. Raucous laughter echoed from our makeshift hangout spot, intermingled with snapping twigs and rustling leaves from the forest. The noises grew louder, like something prowling hungrily around our campsite. We froze, sobering quickly. Adrenaline flooded my system as I imagined rabid animals or drug-fueled attackers approaching through the inky blackness. This was no laughing matter. We hastily dumped the remaining contraband beers into the lake and prepared to sprint to safety. But escape came too late. Before we could even climb to our feet, An enormous tree branch flew from the dense woods as if shot from a cannon. We screamed and dove aside as it smashed violently into the dirt, just inches from us. No ordinary forest creature could heave debris with such brute force and chilling precision. This was a coordinated, ruthless attack. We turned to run, but another thick branch slammed ruthlessly into my friend's face, knocking him to the ground, dazed and bloody. Finally, motivated into action by blind panic, we dragged our injured companion to his feet and fled wildly toward campus. Bursting from the woods, we paused to catch our breath and assess injuries. Pressing a shirt to my friend's gushing head wound, we saw a hulking shadow emerge slowly from the forest. A broad-shouldered figure well over 6 feet tall purposely followed our escape route toward the dorms. Breathless, we raced at top speed across campus, while the unrelenting stalker pursued us to the parking lot before stopping abruptly. We didn't slow to see why. Only after reaching the safety of my dorm room did we report this sinister attack. But authorities found no evidence by morning light. Injured but alive, we laughed about our crazy misadventure the next day. Youthful confidence in our invincibility kept fear at bay temporarily, but the disturbing reality of a menacing figure toying sadistically with us had shattered our assumptions permanently. Scratches and bruises eventually healed, but the hulking stalker's towering silhouette haunted my dreams for years after. Who was this college bogeyman seemingly intent on inflicting harm for his private amusement? And what further pain might we have endured at his hands had we not escaped by chance into the night? Those chilling questions still linger years later whenever I wander too close to the shadowy forest edge after dark. The bathroom boot prank. In my cozy single dorm, I prized privacy and quiet. Both grew scarce when strange late-night knocking began on my door. Light, tentative taps the first night roused me from sleep. I yelled for the phantom visitors to identify themselves. Silence answered, so I chalked it up to an errant hallmate mistaking my room. But the next night brought loud, insistent banging at 2 a.m. I ripped open the door, adrenaline flooding my system from the rude awakening. But again, only empty air and shadows filled the hallway. I asked neighbors about the bizarre intrusions. Nobody admitted any prank. Nonetheless, the phantom knocks continued sporadically over the next week, arriving at odd hours determined to rob me of sleep. Exhausted and irritated by this harassment, I decided to catch the culprit in the act. The next time, when the sharp rap of knuckles assaulted my door well after midnight, I flung it wide open immediately. The sudden motion revealed a shadowy figure vanishing rapidly around the far hallway corner. Heart racing, I pursued the footsteps, anger propelling me. I arrived just in time to see the bathroom door closing down the hall. I rushed inside, flicking on lights, but found nobody. Baffled, I checked under the stalls. As I crouched down, a pair of massive work boots entered my field of vision, waiting ominously in one of the stalls. Shock gripped me momentarily before I shoved the stall door open. No feet filled them. As I stared in horrified confusion, a high-pitched, unhinged cackle broke the tense silence. It reverberated through the tiled room, seeming to originate from all around me at once. Primitive panic flooded my nervous system at this chilling supernatural display. I fled at top speed back to my room, throwing deadbolts and latching the chain lock. I dove under the covers, but further sleep proved impossible. The empty boots and detached cackle lingered in my mind, playing over and over on a loop. Morning shed no light upon the bizarre and increasingly creepy phenomenon. I described the supernatural events to everyone on my floor. Nobody claimed responsibility. Just like every other night, denial met my inquiries about the unsettling episodes. Either nobody knew the perpetrator's identity, or those with knowledge refused to expose them. I became obsessed with solving the bizarre boot prank, questioning everyone about the incidents, but my relentless explanations only produced disbelief and ridicule. Lack of sleep and paranoia took their toll as I let the mystery consume me emotionally. The phantom knocks and chilling laugh toyed maliciously with my mind. I realized too late that I had surrendered the very control I coveted in my solo dorm room. Unable to regain peace of mind, I requested an immediate room change, finally allowing distance from the horror. But the empty boots and detached cackle still echo through my psyche years later, along with questions of who was seeking to inflict such psychological torment late at night inside a deserted college bathroom. As these three true tales demonstrate, Darkness lurks unseen across college campuses nationwide. Unspeakable horrors hide in plain sight behind a facade of normalcy. And for the unfortunate victims, the traumas relived day and night do not fade with graduation. The memories persist to haunt them for years, keeping survivors wary whenever they hear strange noises in the shadows. And now I hope you liked the video. If yes, then do press the like button and also subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any true horror tale.